Welcome back, mathletes. We have our second day of learning about rates and unit rates. The first thing that we'll do is we'll make sure that you're good with writing rates and then find unit rates. And then we'll actually use equivalent rates so that we can compare two different options and figure out which one is better. So let's start off just by reviewing some questions here. Have your notes from yesterday out so that you can refer to them. The 4 questions that we'll discuss are listed here. So take a moment to talk to your partner about each of those items. Now that we've discussed what rates and unit rates are, let's apply our understanding into a situation. So, the first thing that I'd like you to do is to write a rate for the bagels that you see on your screen there. Once you have your rate, go ahead and find a unit rate, which is really just the cost per bagel. And then go ahead and extend that thinking into how much would a dozen bagels cost? We'll pause the video while you work. So you can see that I set it up as a bagel to money rate. That would be my first idea here. So the original information, it's 6 bagels for $7.50. You could write it in reverse with the money on top and the bagels on the bottom. We're just using this information to answer a question for a situation. The second thing that I needed to do was to write a unit rate. And remember that uni means how much for just one. We find unit rates by doing division, breaking it down into just one bagel, not how many bagels can you buy for $1, because you can't just say, well, all I have is $1. Can I just have a piece of a bagel? It's not going to happen. You have to buy the whole complete bagel. So we find that it ends up being $1.25 per bagel because we split the money by 6 as well. Then the next question is, how much would a dozen? And since a dozen represents 12, I need to grow my one bagel to be 12, which is a multiply by 12. This is an equivalent rate. And we find that if I multiply the cost of $1.25 by 12, I would buy 12 bagels for $15. So those are all of the skills that we're working on today. So how exactly can we use unit rates to compare prices? And how do we know which one is the better deal or the better purchase? Take a peek at example 4 on textbook page 199, where they're showing us a couple different bags of dog food. Notice that the dog food is the same brand, but it has different sizes and different prices. We'll pause the video while you look to see how unit rates are used to compare. So you would have seen on textbook page 199 that what they did first was they wrote a rate for each of the dog foods. We can pay $17.20 for a 20-pound bag, or we can pay $33.60 for a 40-pound bag. Now, at the store, they do show you things like this pricing on the shelves a lot of the times, where they show you the different size options. And you just have to ask yourself, is it smarter to buy the bigger bag? Should I buy 2 smaller bags? This works for things like beverages that you're purchasing. Cereal boxes come in a variety of sizes, ice cream containers. There's a lot of different things that have different amounts inside. 12 eggs, 18 eggs, which is the smarter option for you. So they broke it down then into a unit rate. Each rate became a unit rate. Once we know the price per pound, now we can compare. The small bag is 86 cents per pound, and the larger bag is 84 cents per pound. So if we're looking for the better deal, it's the one that's going to be cheaper per pound. So as long as we can carry 40 pounds of dog food at once, we should buy the bigger bag, assuming that we're going to use all of the dog food. So jot these down. The first thing you'll want to do is to write a rate for each of your options. So if it's just 2 different drink sizes, then you'll need to write 2 rates. But if we have 3 different options, maybe 3 different package sizes, we'll actually need to write 3 rates. Each of those rates needs a unit rate. How much for just one? One item, 1 ounce, 1 pound, 1 t-shirt, depending on what the situation is asking. Turn your item into just one instead of multiple. Once we have a unit rate, then we look back and compare. How much are we paying for just one? And once we see, the cheaper one is going to be the one that's going to answer the question and be the better deal. So rate, unit rate, compare the rate. I'll walk you through one here. We're trying to figure out who is driving faster. So I have 2 different drivers. I've got Billy in the red car, and I've got Carl in the yellow car. I can see that they each have different distances, and they also have different times for travel. So I need to write a rate for each of the drivers. Billy is a 300 miles in 5 hours of time. Notice I'm using little abbreviations to label, so I keep track of which one is miles and which one is hours. And I'm going to set up Carl's rate to be in the same order. Mileage first, 440, time second, 8 hours. Now I need to figure out how many miles are they driving in just 1 hour. This becomes their miles per hour rate. If I know their miles per hour rate, then I can compare and I'll know who's going faster. So to turn a rate into a unit rate, I have to figure out how much for just 1 hour. Well, for Billy, it's going to be a divide by 5 kind of math to top and bottom. For Carl, it's going to be a divide by 8. Take the time and turn it down into 1. I have to divide 8 by 8. So once I do the math for each of these, 300 divided by 5 is 60. And 440 divided by 8, let's see, 8 goes into 40 once. 8 does not go into 40 once. 8 goes into 45. And then 8 goes into the other 45. So I find that Billy is 60 miles per hour as his rate, and Carl is 55 miles per hour as his rate. Now I need to answer the question, which driver is faster? Well, I know that the higher the speed, the faster the car is going. So Billy is faster by 5 miles every hour. Notice how we wrote a rate, found a unit rate for each of those rates. Use that information to compare and answer the question. We'll give you one to try. You're trying to figure out who is the faster runner. We've got Hannah, 12 miles in 96 minutes of time, and Sarah, 7 miles in 49 minutes of time. We'll pause the video while you write rates and unit rates, and then compare those rates to figure out who's running faster. So let's look at 2 different options here. Option 1, I wrote a rate for each of these runners, and I found each runner's unit rate, figuring out how long does it take them to run 1 mile. So I made my unit rate be 1 mile. If we split the mileage by 12 for Hannah, then we split her time by 12 as well. Hannah is running an 8-minute mile, which is a pretty good speed. Sarah, however, when we break her mileage down into just 1 mile, ends up being a divide by 7. Sarah's unit rate is that she can run 1 mile in 7 minutes. So when we look and compare these 2 runners, because they're running the same distance, but it takes Sarah less time, that means she is actually faster because it takes her less time to run the mile. My other option was to turn the distance into how much can she run in just 1 minute. So when I do the minutes as the 1 for my unit rate, I would divide by 96 for Hannah, divide by 49 for Sarah. And when I do that to the mileage, I find that Hannah can go 0.125 miles in just a minute, and Sarah could go 0.142 miles in just a minute. And since Sarah's is a little bit farther in the same amount of time, I know that if they were racing each other, Sarah would be in the lead after just 1 minute because she's gone slightly farther than Hannah. So the faster runner overall is Sarah. How'd you do on that? Were you able to write a rate and a unit rate to solve the situation? Let's try one more here. We want to compare some rates here so that we can figure out which of these options for drink bottles is the better purchase for some juice. We'll pause the video while you write rates and unit rates to compare. So you can see that the first thing I did was write a rate for each of the different bottle options. 10 ounces is a little bit smaller, but it's a little bit cheaper in price. So 10 ounces for $1.60 ends up being 1 ounce is 16 cents. So 16 cents per ounce for this bottle option. A bigger bottle is going to cost more money, but when we break down the unit rate, we actually find that it's only 13 cents per ounce here. So because the bigger size ends up being cheaper per ounce, this would actually be the better deal. So the 22-ounce bottle is 3 cents for every ounce cheaper. So as long as I was going to drink it all, and I had enough money to afford the bigger bottle, that would be the cheaper option for me. I'll get more for my money. Now it's time to practice. On journal page 110, we're going to solve problem 3, also problem 4, and then problem 8, part A only. Please remember to show all of your work. And remember when you're setting up a rate to include some kind of mini label. If it's money, just use a dollar sign. If it's something like ounces, you can do an OZ. If it's minutes, maybe an M or an MIN would be helpful there. That's definitely helpful when trying to organize your rates and unit rate information. Happy practicing!